This is Southend, and this is Southend Victoria Railway Station. There are two stations in Southend. This one connects into London on Liverpool Street. The other station goes into Fenchurch Street. We just got a Harley Davidson passing by. Renovation work being carried out in the centre of the town here. Seems to be the main shopping centre. Signposted down towards the seafront this way, so we'll just follow it down. We're just passing the Central station. Now, Central and Victoria stations are not on the same line. Central station takes the trains coming from Fenchurch Street, whereas, as I mentioned before, the trains into Victoria are from Liverpool Street. Both journeys take about an hour. It's all surprisingly busy. It's a Friday, so not a weekend, but there are a lot of people out in this long shopping centre. It's not a particularly warm day either, so I doubt whether there's too many tourists here. You can see the sea at the end of this shopping parade, and on our left is the Royals shopping centre before we get to the very end here. We've made our way down to the end of the high street, the long shopping parade, and we're out on the end now on a sort of viewing platform above the beach and the entertainments. I'll just take you right the way around. There's the very long pier, the longest in the country. There's a little railway track that takes you along it. There's more entertainment here. And then we're looking down here, now looking westward that way. And we're scanning back inland now. There's the Royal Hotel. Come down onto the front now, beside the sea, and we'll walk along a little way and show you what, if you head up this way, what you're going to see. If you look up onto the right, there's a very short funicular railway. Take you up to the buildings up there, which I imagine most are hotels or boarding houses. And that's just back to where we were standing looking at the view. Parking warden. As you can see, it's quite windy today off the sea. but it's not cold. If we just go round to see the way we've walked, looking across the estuary, and half a mile or so back down there is where we started by the pier. I've turned around now and walked back towards the start of the pier, and just to show you the beach, the tide is right up at the moment. It does go out a long way here, but it's not particularly good sand. It's a stony sort of beach. There is a set off bit here, which is presumably for youngsters to swim and paddle in, protected from the sea. We'll keep the water when the tide goes out, but no activity today. This is Adventureland. Looking down the pier. Well, we've entered the pier, and the options to you are to walk both ways, train both ways, or walk one way and train the other. We've elected to walk out to the end and get the train back if it's at a convenient time. You can see the tracks here on my left, and we're kept quite separate on the walking area. Now if I just spin round and show you the view from here, I'll do this several times as we walk out. That's the area we walked along the front earlier in the film. That's the top of the pier, and the big hotel is the Park Inn Palace. I'm looking at more of the funfair. And then we're looking down to where the sandy beach is, the area we haven't walked to yet, but we intend to later. And then we come right round to the pier again. Well, I will say that this is probably the nicest walk in Southend. You're away from the noise of the fairground, you're away from all the traffic noise and all the garish signs. And it's just so peaceful out here, just the sound of the water. I recommend it. I think we're just coming up to a signpost here which says We're a third of the mile from the shore. I'll just show you what we're looking at as you turn around. Probably the best view you're going to get of Southend-on-Sea, I suspect. One mile from shore, and the sounds of Southend are just a long memory, a long time ago. It's just peaceful out here. A few voices from other people walking on the pier and the water. Well, this is where the train ends. Plenty of places to have a snack, fish and chips, ice cream, so forth. At the very end of the pier, we're looking across to the Kent coast. Up that way we're looking up towards London. And this is the very end of the pier here. And over here, the building there is the lifeboat station. Looking back along the length of the pier to Southend. The pier, this metal pier, was opened in 1890. Before that there was a wooden pier which extended part the way out. And the pier is this long because the water here is very shallow, and when steamers came down from London bringing tourists, they could only come in at high tide. Therefore, the further they built the pier out, the larger the boats that could stop here. And so over a series of years it was gradually extended to just over 1.3 miles. Well, as you can see, we're actually walking back. We did buy a train ticket to take us back, but it's such a pleasant walk that we've decided to leave the train and just continue walking back to the town. And back comes the train. We're back on the mainland now. There's the big hotel up there, the Park Inn Palace. And we're going to walk along the front in this direction and see where that leads us. Opposite, painted a rather gaudy orange, is an Art Deco building. Olympia is in the stonework above, possibly a cinema originally. The Borough Hotel, quite an elaborate building. A little further along we have the Hope Hotel. This is the Kursaal in Southend, built in 1894 as a place of entertainment. Kursaal meaning, I believe in German, a spa or a place of cures. And it is still a place of entertainment. So it's probably the best of the architecture the Southend has to offer. We've moved along the beach now, away from the pier, to the sandy section. But as you can see, it's not particularly good sand, it's more grit. and doesn't seem to be that popular with people. Well, we're on our way out of Southend now, heading back up the high street towards the railway station. It was John Betjeman, the poet, who said Southend is the pier is Southend, meaning that there was very little else to Southend apart from that. And all these years later, I really have to concur with what he said. There isn't very much apart from the pier, unless you're a teenager and into the rides and fairground entertainments. But apart from the pier, there's very little else here to keep one entertained, and the beach itself is just gritty stones, not a good beach at all. Here we are, that's what Southend is, and that's where we've been today. See you next time.